Day 853 of the Ukrainian War Map, also known as the Russo-Ukrainian War. Juzzie here, and today is a super quick update as I've got some technical issues as I take a simplified and down-to-earth approach to some of the most important happenings on the ground in Ukraine. So starting off, we'll take a look at those Russian losses, as currently Russia sits on more than 538,000 military personnel losses, representing an additional 1,220 in the past day. Then as for hardware losses, 4 tanks, 19 APVs, 40 artillery, and even 6 pieces of special equipment. Then headed to the map, as just a small number of hours ago now, the AFU attacked a military facility in the Belgorod region, just west of the city itself. And according to preliminary data, an air defense system was destroyed. And it wouldn't be the first time, but it always is surprising when it happens. Then headed all the way down on the map as a large fire broke out at Cape Chahuda in the occupied Crimean Peninsula, and notably from where the Russian Shahed drones are launched. And on top of that, this is the second time in the last week that Shahed launching positions have either been hit or just acting quite smoky. Then headed into the Ukrainian map today, as in the Kharkiv direction. So Ukrainian defense forces repelled 15 enemy assaults near to Vovchansk, but also near Taika and Liboka, all in the past day. Although the American Institute for the Study of War reported Ukrainian forces have marginally advanced along Zaborna Street in central Vovchansk. And although it may appear like a little bit of map stagnation here, quite the opposite seems to be true. For example, Russia reportedly is deploying blocking units to stop soldiers from fleeing in order to essentially feed them into the Kharkiv meat grinder. And also for this region, the Russian military correspondent Sladkov explains that the situation at the front has changed dramatically, with him saying, quote, "Our artillery gunners have learned that for every shell that we fire, Ukraine answers with 20 rounds from its side." So these are positive looking numbers for Ukraine, although probably not completely accurate. However, still do seem to show the correct sentiment, as a result of the recent inflow of artillery shells to Ukraine from a number of different international sources, which could at least be giving Kyiv's troops firepower parity with Russian forces. And I tend to think of inbound artillery shell supplies to Ukraine as a gradual build-up of a snowball-like effect. There'll be no stopping it when it hits peak output. Oh, and speaking of which, Ukrainian artillery shelling got the better of railway tracks inside of Belgorod, just northwest of Vovchansk, as Ukraine continues to strike on key Russian logistical routes. Then moving across on the map, because additionally, in the Kupyansk direction, Ukrainian troops repelled 10 Russian attacks near to Sinkivka, Kislivka, and a number of other places there. Although it does appear that the Russian army has moved to a change of tactics, as Sinkivka, a place where Russian forces have been failing on multiple occasions to try and take the settlement from the north. So now Russia is trying to encircle it from the east, which is what this protruding grey zone may indicate, which does in fact represent a fairly far right or far east attempt at encirclement. Then briefly headed down the map to Chasiv Yar, as Russian forces attempted to make new inroads into the city, but continue to be met with failure and destruction. Now, you may not even be able to tell what this actually is, but it's a Russian infantry fighting vehicle, perhaps a BMP-1 based on the front there, somewhat obscured by the cage poles that did not end up helping it out, as it relates to FPV drone protection and the like. Then taking a look around the map, because somewhere in the east. Okay, so firstly, take a look here, because how precise can you get with an FPV drone? Well, very precise, but not normally like this, as this drone delves right into an undercover Russian artillery position to take out the howitzer piece, Although in this instance we cannot see the outcome for this one, but feel free to use your imagination. Although the real question might be here, where are the Russian soldiers at? Then also in the east, we saw the aftermath of a successful Ukrainian HIMARS strike on a Russian Pantsir S-1 air defense system in the Donetsk Oblast, hit by a HIMARS rocket, although this event seems to have occurred a few days ago, but the uploaded photos didn't show themselves until much more recently. Then also in the east, and in somewhat of a unique incident, the crew of a Bradley M2 infantry fighting vehicle from the 47th Brigade shot down an enemy FPV drone using the Bushmaster chain gun fire, preventing an attack on their vehicle. Impressive stuff. Then headed across to some news for today. So starting off, the German government is planning a massive framework deal to purchase up to 2.35 million rounds of artillery ammunition from Deal Defense and Nemo Rufos, worth up to 15 billion euros, covering future orders for Ukraine. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius aims to finalize this deal to address the Bundeswehr's depleted stockpiles and ensure sufficient manufacturing capacities for the 155mm ammunition in Germany. And so this new deal follows a recent similar agreement with Rheinmetall for up to 8.5 billion euros to build a new production line, reflecting Germany's preparation for a prolonged or protracted conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Then in some more hardware-related news, another Ukrainian development of a fast-paced drone, with this latest entry able to reach speeds of up to 200 kilometers per hour, which is about 125 miles per hour. In fact, this one was shown as reaching more than 200 kilometers an hour, as the heads-up display info showed that it did in fact reach 214 kilometers, which is thereabouts 135 miles per hour. So as we can see here, Ukraine continuing to innovate on the advanced drone technology front in so many different facets. Then headed to some big recent news for the day, as the ICC, or the International Criminal Court, issued arrest warrants just yesterday for head of Russia's Security Council Sergei Shoigu and Chief of the General Staff of the Russian Army Valery Gerasimov, charging them with war crimes related to directing attacks on civilian objects and causing excessive incidental harm. Now, in particular, these charges pertain to Russian strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure between October 2022 and March of 2023, with the ICC asserting that the harm to civilians was excessive compared to any military advantage gained. So Shoigu, who served as Russia's defense minister at the time, and Gerasimov, now face accusations of crimes against humanity. President Zelensky welcomed the ICC's decision, emphasizing that no military rank or position can shield individuals from accountability. And so these two peas in a pod have been part of military hostilities against Ukraine since day one. In fact, I very much consider them to be Putin's fall guys, or better to say, who Putin would try to blame it all on as a very last resort. Although, interestingly, we haven't seen Gerasimov in public for quite some time now. We didn't even see this chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Russia on Russia's May 9th Victory Day parade, which is highly suspicious somehow. Then into a bit of a quick lighter segment, as yesterday, Ukraine successfully brought back 90 prisoners of war from Russian captivity as part of a prisoner exchange. The released individuals include 32 National Guard personnel, 18 Border Guards, 17 Navy personnel, 15 soldiers of the armed forces, and 8 from the territorial defenses. Notably, 59 of these were defenders of Mariupol, with 52 having been stationed at the Azovstal steel plant. The exchange had also involved 90 Russian soldiers, as reported by Russia's defense ministry. President Zelensky emphasized Ukraine's ongoing efforts to secure the release of all its captives, with this exchange marking the 53rd such event since the full-scale war began. Then headed across to a couple of quick funnies to round it all off today, guys, because these technical glitches are really killing me. I'm seeing everything in an inverted color scheme on my PC right now. Hopefully that doesn't turn out to be what you guys see as well. I don't think it will, but it's driving me insane. So here we go with the funny. So starting off for this one, a Russian woman was listing all of Putin's achievements recently, calling him Russia's greatest strategist with many outstanding achievements. But note the sarcasm as she goes on to say he has substituted truth for crazy propaganda. He extended the borders with NATO 1,500 kilometers, referring to Finland. He pushed Russia into complete dependence on China. He lost billions in frozen assets, and the list goes on and on and on. And she's not wrong. Although these types of unpopular opinions would land her in the gulag. So I'm guessing she's living abroad. Then as for a quick final funny, so during a visit to a dairy complex, the chatty Belarusian president Lukashenko seemed to feel the urge to just tell everyone, just tell the locals how he milks cows in his dreams. Okay, maybe you should just stop talking now, crazy Uncle Luca. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks again for watching. Please continue to like and comment, subscribe if not already, and I do hope to see all of you guys there in the next one. Cheers.